In my short introduction, my name is Mohammad Aamir Ansari, and I'm working for Treehouse Consultancy LLC, Dubai, the capacity of head of data division. And we are mostly working on data related project, at least my division. And we are working on Microsoft Power BI in most of the cases. So this session is one of the regular session, what we usually call a knowledge sharing session. Sorry. So what we are going to share today is basically related to Synoptic Panel. Now, all of you are aware of Microsoft Power BI comes with a stack of visuals, and these visuals are basically out of the box visuals, what we usually call them. And these visuals are basically uh, when you are installing Microsoft Power BI, and even if they are adding some new controls in future, those will be available over here in your out of the box visual. But there is a custom visual part or additional visuals which you are adding. They are appearing now in new version. They are appearing in a separate section. So when you are working with a custom visual, these custom visuals provide you some additional capabilities. And in some cases, these custom visuals are designed by Microsoft themselves. But in other cases, there are their partners and other, they are being shared on the Microsoft platform or app source. And from there, you can download those um, custom visuals. So the Synoptic Panel is a different custom visual because in most of the cases, once you download a custom visual and there is no prerequisite for that, and you can start incorporating that visual and working straight away in your Power BI file. But whenever you are working with a Synoptic Panel, you have to first work on the Synoptic Designer to make that particular image ready for you before you incorporate that image in the Synoptic Panel. So just because of this, it is comparatively different from generic custom visuals, because you have to go through some additional steps, and then you can make those images or diagrams ready for your reports. Now, why we are using a Synoptic Panel? Like in most of the cases, we are mostly working on graphs, charts, and other kind of things. But when you are willing to incorporate diagrams, floor maps, or other similar kind of use cases, you need Synoptic Panel. Because sometimes your audience is not having thorough knowledge of statistics or analytics, and they want to relate what is happening based on the diagram itself. So sometimes it is very easy for them to understand by just looking at those diagrams. So before we move forward, and we give you a kind of a walkthrough like how Synoptic Panel works, I'm going to show you a couple of examples. Like this is the first example which I'm showing you right now. In this example, what I'm trying to show, like in this, I have incorporated two uh, Synoptic panels in this in single file. But if you'll go to the Synoptic Panel website, you will be able to see like now. Once you decide to use a Synoptic Panel, there are two ways of using it. One is using your own images. And another way is like you are using already available images or designs in their gallery. So if you'll see in this Synoptic Designer screen, over here, there is a gallery. And within this gallery, there are so many pre-built SVG images which are mapped properly. And you can use those images to incorporate your reports. So what I did, so if you scroll it down, so there are so many examples over here. So this is the hex map of USA. This is what I have used in my example. So to start with, like if you want to develop understanding of synoptic panel, this is suggested like you should start with this gallery and then incorporate the same with your data. So this is the fastest way of learning a synoptic panel. So if you see this report, which I have already shared with you, and it is available on internet as well, which can be accessed live. I'll share this link with you later. So in this, what I did, like I have incorporated data, and this is actually showing like what is the state of on this particular date. And I have used the color scales to show the intensity of coronavirus on in different state of United States. So this is actually a very good example of how you can incorporate synoptic panel in your report, and based on that you can quite easily produce a result which people can very easily relate to. So this is a very good example of how you can incorporate uh, available diagrams within the gallery and then use it with your data to produce result. The another example which is related to a kind of a floor map. In this example, I'm showing you a floor map of a data center in which there are AC units, there are power cabinets, and there are different racks. And over here, you can see that this is actually showing you like in which of the rack there are more incidents happening and how other racks are behaving. So anybody who is looking at this particular visual, they can easily relate with their floor map, like what is happening within their data center and which of the racks need more repairing or maintenance to avoid the number of incidents happening over there. And whatever kind of incidents you want to focus on, like if I want to focus on cooling related incidents, so you the ones you'll select cooling part only, air conditioned and or the racks where cooling related incidents are happening, that is going to be highlighted. And if I want to focus on only one kind of asset, once again, this will focus on that particular asset only. So this diagram is actually behaving along with my report. So imagine like if you have a building floor plan, if you have a shopping mall footfall report, or any other similar kind of use cases, you can incorporate this kind of mechanism, like incorporating your diagram and using it with Power BI and clubbing your data with that particular diagram. So that is going to give you a proper look and feel, like the relationship or understanding like where it is happening. And if you want to send somebody for a quick response, in that case, it is much easier over here instead of just looking at the data and spotting where that problem is happening. The third example is once again, I have incorporated data with a diagram, but this is somewhat different from other use cases. Like over here, if you see that for every unit, there is only one diagram. Like for rack 9, there is only one rack 9 in this particular diagram. But over here, if you'll see that if I'm talking about cockpit, so if I'll select cockpit, so cockpit is selected in each diagram. Like in this particular use case, whichever area I'm selecting wings, so wings will be selected in all complete diagrams. So this is something which is different from other visuals, because in this case we are actually using multiple places to explain single data point. So over here, if I want to focus on only the ammunition side, so you will see that only the ammunition part will be selected in this diagram. So over here, this becomes pink, this becomes pink, and this ammunition part becomes pink. So if you want, you have a use case, like if there is a vehicle image and you want to show it from different angles, and you want every angle the same thing to behave, like for example, if you want to spot tires only, or if you want to spot doors. So in all these cases, if in multiple diagram the similar object or the similar data point is shown, you can incorporate that. So these are the three examples which are shown just to give you an idea like what are the use cases where you can implement this synoptic panel. So I'm sharing, this is my Power BI report, which and I have included the same links over here. So once I'll upload this particular file, you will be able to visit these links, and you can also get an idea like how these reports were produced and what kind of results they were giving. Now over here in this first example, if you see, in the first example, I have created a very simple use case, like I'm looking at a fruit business. And in this fruit business, they are, for this particular example, I have selected only 3 items which they are dealing with. They are dealing in apple, oranges, and banana. And I have placed these in 3 different areas. Like over here, I have grouped these 3 together. Over here, I have grouped these 3 together. And over here, once again, I have grouped all these 3 together. And this whole report is actually showing the status, kind of like, imagine like there is a business and they have set up some targets for their business. Like they set some target for their crops, their export and retail business. And if their crops reach the target of 80 or above, the status color will be green. And if the target of export is like in whichever case, like whether crop or export or retail, these colors are showing like whether they have achieved the target, and which of the case is not achieving the proper target. So over here, what we did, like the red color is showing that they are below their target or way below their target, and those products or the sections which are achieving target, they are in green color. But in this particular example, what we have shown that we have bifurcated the crop, export, and retail in 3 different groups. Like if you come over here and you will take your mouse on top of this one, so it is showing that the category is crop. Like the fruit name is apple 1, target is 80, the fruit actual name is apple, and the category is crop. But over here, once you'll come over here in the second example, you will see that this category is related to export and this category is related to retail. So by looking at this image, you can understand like which area is performing well, whether the crops are performing well, or your export is performing well, or your retail is performing well. So for Apple, just for this example, I have created 3 different groups, and based on this, you can identify like in which area, which of the product is performing well or which of the product is performing badly. So this will help you identify based on the diagram. So how this was done? Basically, if you'll go to the Synoptic Panel website, as I shown you before. So over here, there is an editor part, and in editor part, you have to upload the image you want to incorporate in this Synoptic Panel. I'm selecting an image. Now you'll see that this image has been loaded, and this image is appearing right now over here. Now, in order to incorporate all these things in your image, you have to select those areas. Like over here, you will see that move the canvas. Because my image is big, I can move it around so I can see different places over here. If your image size is low, you can easily see the whole image on the whole page. But in this editor, what I'm doing right now, like I have 3 different groups available over here. So in order to select these groups or these items or images, you have 2 options. The first option is for the draw new areas, and the other option is automatically discover bitmap areas. So if your image is simple, in our case, our image is very simple, and if you want to incorporate the same over here, so I'll simply select the automatically discover bitmap. And once I'll click over here, so this image bitmap is selected, and all those coordinates are appearing over here, the SVG coordinates, like which are actually the whole selection which was made for the apple has come over here. Now, this is the code which you are supposed to relate within your data. Now, it's your choice, like whether you want to incorporate this code number, or for your understanding reason, I write like Apple 1. So I can relate it quite easily within my data. Image over here, once again, I'll use this one, and this apple is selected, and this is the Apple 2. It has automatically given it the apple name. But if you see over here in the third one, if I use the same pattern over here, this selection is not ideal. Like this Apple 3 selection is not ideal, but I want this to be the exact size of this particular shape. So in that case, I'll use the second way of making it, which is the draw new areas. So to start with, you will select the top left, bottom right, and top right. This will select the whole area, and now it has become the Apple 3 part. So what I'm trying to explain over here, like you have 2 ways of selecting. One is the automatic selection, which is the much easier way of selection. And the second one is using a draw shape sort of. Now, to explain you, like this is something which is compulsory, like this ID which you are providing, this is what you are going to use in your data to connect these shapes or these areas with your data to work with. And this is something which a kind of a supported name, like just to understand like what this item is. So if you want to give an optional name like Apple 1 over here and Apple 2 over here, so this will appear over here in your screen. So this is your choice. This is not compulsory to add this part, but this you can add. Now, if I come over here in my file, if you see over here, so this Apple 1 and all these things are actually coming from that particular image, and all these areas are defined. That's why these are behaving properly. So if I'll come over here and I'll show you my Excel data, so I have used these Apple 1, Apple 2, and Apple 3 as the fruit name or the ID which I'm using. And because they are belonging to the same class Apple, so I have created like fruit class is Apple, category is crop, and these are the target and volume. So this is the data which I have created for this particular example. So if you'll see over here, this is behaving in the same manner. Like whatever I have given these values, these targets, these colors are actually showing you based on that. Now, why and how these colors are coming? So if you select Synoptic Panel over here, and I'll just show you over here in the visualization part. Here we have the states color mentioned, and I have given all state color over here. Like if the states, the comparison I'm using is the greater than sign, And for all states, like if it's greater than 75, it's going to be green. If it's greater than 55, this will be the color. If it's greater than 35, this will be the color. And if it's greater than 0 but less than 35, it will be in red color, and all others will be in white color. Now white color means if I'm selecting something and other are not selected, like if I'm selecting only apple, the other areas will be in these. So the default colors, like if I'll just show you the default color. This is the default color which you will use in it, like this color, like this unmatched color, like whenever there is nothing is matching. Now because I have selected apple and nothing is matching right now, so this color you can change as well. Like if you don't want to appear as blue, you can change it to different color. But what I'm trying to explain over here, like if you are selecting something, it is possible that these colors will not appear over here, because now I have selected banana only, so it is only showing me the report related to banana. Now to give you an idea like how to incorporate it in the synoptic panel, you will select the synoptic panel over here, and in the field side I'm incorporating, for example, the fruit name in the category, and the target is I'm putting it in the measure part. The moment I'll put the same, it is going to ask for the image I want to load. So I'll click on the load map, and then I'll select the image I want to incorporate. So once I'll open that particular image, that image will appear in my screen. Sorry, this one. Now you see over here, this is SVG image which I have mapped. Now in this diagram, because I've already mapped all these areas, so that's why these areas are coming highlighted over here. So if by mistake I have missed anything, it will not appear in black in this particular one. So this is right now appearing like this, and I have incorporated these things over here. So this is how you are actually incorporating your data with your visual, and then you can have different ways of incorporating it. And because I have used different examples and different data, so I can use different ways of incorporating, like over here I have this fruit name and category fruit, and then only fruit. So whichever way I have incorporated, if the names are matching with my data, this will come automatically with those colors, like this blue colors or other colors, because right now this particular diagram was related to, because I have used fruit and categories in it. So if you'll see over here, it has apple crop, orange crop, and banana crop, and over here it is apple export, orange export, and banana export. So because for this particular diagram I have incorporated it with the fruit and category name, that's why it will behave properly once I'll use this particular field. Otherwise, if I'm using a wrong field, because in fruits it's these names will not match, that's why it will not appear correctly. So this blue color is indicating that the moment you drag and drop that particular field, and if it is matching and it is designed based on that, or this SVG file is configured to work with this fruit and category names, these blue colors will appear, and this will show you that okay, your diagram is correct and the mapping is also correct. Later on, like once it's incorporated, the next thing you will do, like over here you will incorporate the state colors, and then over here, like just for this particular example, if I want the state color to be something like pink, and if it is value is greater than 50, so you will see that the moment I have applied 50, so this color is automatically implemented over here. And if I want to apply something different over here, like 30, and I want to apply a different color for that, so that will be implemented automatically. So this is the simple way of incorporating it. like how you can bring your image inside, and then you start mapping that image with your data, and it will start behaving accordingly as you have uh, mentioned over here. Now, in this example one, once again, coming back to this example one, if you'll see that I have used over here this, the fruit name is apple one, because I have used in this diagram, because I have used in this diagram, all these mapping was related to apple one. But in the second example, and if I come over here, I have used the name as well as crop, because in this first example, it was not clear like this name was what Apple one is telling me. But over here in this example two, because I have selected a proper naming convention over here, so the fruit bit category is showing apple crop. And because in this particular visual, I have added some more fields over here in the tooltip to make sense. Like I have added fruit name and category in addition. So along with the name which I have, or ID which I have given, like apple crop, you can see that the fruit and category name is also appearing side by side. So in this example, I have given proper names and I have incorporated those name with my data. And then those that is giving you a kind of a clear picture, like this is related to export, and this is related to retail, and this is related to crop. So this is the second example. And over here, because the data is showing you the similar one, like if you want to select on the apple only, so you can see that only apple is selected, and all in all these areas the apple related thing is. And because I have selected apple crop, so retail and export are empty. But if I want to select only apple over here, so apple in all areas will be selected, like it's for crop as well, it is selected. And I can use my filters as well from here as well. Instead of selecting from the chart from anywhere, I can select which fruit I want, and which category I want. I want only retail, so only orange related retail colors will be appearing over here. So this is one use case. But the other use case, which is over here, uh, this one is very much related to the use case I have shown you with the example of this aeroplane example. Like in this fighter plane, you can see that in the single diagram, three data points are similar to each other. Like if I select on the cockpit side, so it is going to select the only cockpit part. So it is actually giving me the information from that part only. So this is something which you need to incorporate in some cases, like if all data, all diagram or shapes are pointing to single data point. In that case, what you have to do, like in this case, if I'm selecting apple, all apples are selected. If I'm selecting banana, all bananas are selected, and all oranges are selected, and it is the average target achieved collectively by these items. So in this case, if you see over here, the fruit is apple in this case, and its ID over here is apple as well, and its ID is apple as well. Means once you are defining those shapes, you have to give the similar ID to all. Now if I go once again to this Synoptic Designer, in cases where you want all these shapes to behave commonly with a single data, in that case you have to keep all IDs similar, like all these IDs should be similar. In this manner, what will happen, like in all these cases, these three apples will be connected to this ID, like wherever you are putting this ID line. Now, if you go to this shape, and if you will see over here, uh, I'm selecting this fruit. This fruit is actually showing only apple, banana, and orange because I have given it this name. All these shapes are having the common name of apple. That is why it is related to that. So in cases where you want in a single shape or in a single diagram, you want multiple shape to behave commonly, in that case what you have to do, you have in the synoptic designer, you have to give the similar id to all these shapes. In this manner, what will happen, like whenever you are working on certain reports and you want these to behave commonly based on the selection, so in this manner the only thing which you have to remember, like this is really this you have to do, like all names over here need to be same. Only in this case this is going to work and this is going to be incorporated in this. So based on that, once I'll share this example with you, you can experiment it further, and I personally suggest that you try with the gallery first, like instead of uh, trying your own shape, first try with this gallery, because there are some simple shapes as well. In general part there might be some couple of simple shapes as well which you can select and you can try, like this floor map example which I've shown you. The similar example can be seen over here. So this is up to you, like whether you try with your own diagram, but when you have your own diagram, then you have to go to the editor part and then you have to add a new diagram. So if once again, just to repeat this and explain it like how it's going to work, I'll just clear it and I'll get another diagram. Once again, in the same manner, I'm repeating those tasks again. Right now, there is no area. So one way is by selecting the automatic discover bitmap style, and which you can select it quite easily. And the other thing, like once you move your shape and then you want to draw the area, you select the top left, bottom left, bottom right, top right. So this is the way you can select these kind of shapes. And once these are selected, if you want to give in your data only IDs, that's fine. Otherwise, if you want to have this type of IDs like Apple 1, Apple 2, Apple 3, or you have like crop. And this was the second case. And in the third case, what I did, I have given all names as similar. So these are the three use cases, or you can say the three ways of using it. So once again, I'll give you a snap of the data. Like uh, one way is either you can use IDs, but in your connectivity or mapping, it is hard to remember. The other good way of doing is to give the name along with the ID. This is also okay in some scenarios, but if you club the fruit name with category. So what I did in this, like instead of having a common name in my Excel table, I have created a custom column over here, and I have simply joined this fruit name and the category. So whatever name I'm giving to my diagram, my SVG mapping diagram, it is going to show the same, it is going to map that and relate that, and it is going to work with it. One thing which I probably missed, like how this Synoptic panel will be incorporated or pulled or loaded inside your Power BI is first you have to go to the Synoptic Panel website, and you have to uh, download it. And once you download it, once you download the Synoptic Panel on your PC, then you can simply import it through file. Like over here, I can import from file, and from whichever location I have stored that particular custom visual, I can get it from there. Now over here, I have this Synoptic Panel downloaded. So once I'll select it from here, it will appear in my report. And based on that, you can then start tweaking it. So step one is basically going to the Synoptic Designer, either importing your diagram and then defining all those areas and naming those areas correctly. The second step is like saving that particular file, and then after saving that particular file, you have to save it in the SVG format, and then you will pull that SVG file in your system. So after this session, I'm going to upload this file on the Easy Power BI website as well. Just a second. Now, one thing which is very important, you have to select simple drawings first, because if you are selecting complex the designs in the first stage, you will not be successful. So it's better to select the proper design and then start working on it, and then you can simply understand it well. There are other videos as well, but on Synoptic or OKViz website as well, it is very well defined. But the important thing is like where you are implementing it, like what is the use case, in which kind of use case you want to incorporate, and how your business can take benefit from it. What I usually noticed, like it is good for these kind of use cases where you can incorporate with the floor maps and things like that, and you have other diagrammatic areas. Like this report was very well received, and people who are related to USA, they can easily spot like one for which area it is talking about. So this is the best way of starting on Synoptic Panel. I hope you have enjoyed this session. And, thank you very much, and nice to have all of you for this session, conducting similar sessions. So those who are interested, they can follow my YouTube channel as well, my LinkedIn, as well as this meetup site, which is Dubai Data Visualization Meetup Group. So you can follow it. So whenever there is a new session, you can easily register yourself and you can participate in it. Okay, thank you all of you for having me. So I'll be in touch with you all, and I hope that all of you are following me on LinkedIn and my blog as well. Thank you very much.